Just Dance 2019. As the year was coming to a close, you know this one was probably going to happen. A Just Dance review. This is a review of the Switch version, but there's also one available for the Wii U and unbelievably the Wii. I like this series, and my enjoyment of the title always comes down to the songs included. Some of the years have not been great, with a lot of covered songs, which I think should never happen when you're paying so much for this. And there was also problems with songs that, while they were the original artists, they kinda sucked. This version, I'm very happy to say, has the best songs I've heard in a few years now. I didn't know 70% of them, but I sure enjoyed the beats of the music way more than I usually do. This version has another interface change. In the last few versions, they've been trying out different ways to have the layout of how the songs are presented, and I think last year's might have been a little too simple looking back. I really like the way they did it this time. You can search for songs, sorted in an easy to read way. Overall, it's a lot easier to find what you want. That being said, this is one of the most basic versions of Just Dance I've ever seen. There's no strange mode to play around with, like the UFO game from a couple years back. It really only has a single player mode, place where you can play pre-made lists of songs to play in a row, or online play. You can choose to change up the action by focusing on the calories instead of stars in the sweat mode. The game is played by you and your friends holding a Joy-Con in one hand apiece, and replicating the people on the screen. And you dance along to the music. You can choose to be any of the characters on the screen. Different characters might do different actions, so there is some replayability if you want to change up the way you dance to the songs. As you're dancing, you're going to get points for the way you portray the dancing on the screen. It has points where it's looking for the movement of your Joy-Con, and if you hit it correctly, you can get a perfect, super, good, or okay. It's all about the timing. As you get the points, you're going to earn stars, with the goal of getting 5 stars. Now, you must use the Joy-Cons to play this. You can't use the Pro Controller, as you might expect. It'd be a little unwieldy if you're going to hold this big controller as you're flailing about. Now, in the previous versions, you were able to use your smartphone as a controller. According to Ubisoft's website, it is available in this year's version, but I don't know if the Switch supports it. The option to change the controller never came up, unlike the previous versions I've played. There are 40 songs to play in this, and like I mentioned before, they're pretty good and catchy. They're mostly pop songs, but they do occasionally have little weird ones like songs like Me and this Pac-Man song. Playing the single player game was fun like usual, but this year I don't know if it was the characters moving around the screen more or me getting older, but more than once I lost track of who I was following. It would have been nice if they had an indicator under the person who you're following. Just Dance games have gotten more and more elaborate on the song's presentation, and this year is no different. There'll be all kinds of things in the background and ways the characters interact with the world they're in. It was quite impressive, and I have to wonder how they come up with all these crazy things that show up in all these games. Now, like I mentioned, there is an online mode. The online mode sees you going up against whoever's online at the time, as everyone dances to the same song. Whoever gets the most points wins. You can see on the left side where you are in comparison to the other players and how many people are playing. In addition to just dancing to a song, they also have different things you can do, like having you dance to multiple songs and adding up the points to see who wins. Or a blue versus red battle, where they divide all the players into 2 groups and see who gets the most stars. My issue with this is that it's a little bit too slow when it loads up the next song. There's about a minute or so wait as you're waiting to move through the menus, as they're like telling you the score and basically what song you're picking or whatever's going on. I guess you could use the time to relax a little, but it felt a little too sluggish. It just felt like everything should have been pepped up a little bit. If you want to dance to more songs, there's the Just Dance Unlimited plan you can pay for. They have over 400 songs for you to dance to. They're just old songs from the decade-long series. As I mentioned before in previous reviews, I think they should drastically lower the price of the base game to get people to pay for the unlimited service instead. And my opinion on this has not changed on that. However, it is nice that this year's songs were not mostly throwaway songs like I've seen in previous versions. If you have children, there's a kids mode where you don't see those harsh, perfect, super good prompts. They use nicer and more encouraging words. Most of the songs were just simple songs that you might see on a kid's TV show. I can see kids really loving this mode, if not for one problem, and that would be confusion. Not all of the songs were free to play without the unlimited plan, and it doesn't say at all to them which ones were free and which ones were behind a paywall. Every time they get to a block one, it brings up a "why not try out this service plan" ad. In fact, this ad popped up way more times than I would have appreciated. Now, with that being said, they do give you a free month of the unlimited plan when you buy the game. Just Dance 2019 was pretty good when it came to the songs they had to offer, and the presentation of the songs and the dancers themselves. I like the new way the game is laid out. It's easy to find songs, and you can even see a small preview of how it's going to look when you're playing it. And you can see the high score of what that particular song is, as well as a high score of what you got. Now, this title is $40, and unlike previous years, I do think it's worth a buy, especially if you don't already have a Just Dance game for the Switch. If you have the previous version, just get the unlimited plan, as it's mostly just the same version without the 40 new songs and the user interface changes. However, if this is your first time buying a Just Dance game for the Switch, this is a perfect one to get.